Hey guys, Sam here, and today we're going to do something a little bit different for comic commentary. While normally I like to do analysis and reviews of very specific series and very specific runs of characters, today I'm going to do a top 12 list. Why top 12? Because Nostalgia Critic does 11. If I do one more, I'm one better, right? That's how that works? I'm going to pretend that's how that works. So I'm going to do a top 12 list of my favorites, you guessed it, by reading the description probably. We're going to do a top 12 list of my favorite DC and Marvel superheroes. For this list, it's going to be superheroes only, so we're going to exclude anti-heroes, villain-turned heroes, all that jazz, and we're going to stick just to the good guys doing good things for good reasons. And we'll worry about villains and anti-heroes a little later on. So, without further ado, starting in at number 12, let's get started. Coming in at number 12 for me is the Hulk. The Incredible Hulk, the Totally Awesome Hulk, whatever adjective he has in front of his name. He's a character that's always been around in my childhood. I really liked him growing up. The big monster coming to punch things and take out all the bad guys. And when I got a little older, liking the turmoil that he had, trying to fight the beast inside and overcoming his aggression. For all those reasons, Hulk's a very well done character. There's a lot of great stuff with the Hulk. For this, I'm going to recommend a couple things for each thing on the top 12 list. So I'm going to recommend for Hulk, Planet Hulk, fantastic. They did a animated film of the comic run, so those are both great. The Hulk in the new Marvel Cinematic Universe, those are a blast. I really like the character's portrayal there. Let's see, the Hulk GameCube game, weirdly solid. Don't know if you're interested in that, but if you're into old gaming consoles, GameCube Hulk, super good game. Hard as heck. Not important. But Hulk was actually also a character that started this little action figure craze that I'm into. When I was a kid, I was with my babysitter and had, I don't know who gave it to us, but it was this box. And it was weirdly like half toys and little discount things, and the other half was fishing supplies. I don't know what the deal with that was, but actually I may have repressed a story about a hook in my hand. Anyway, digging through that box, I found a little Hulk figure that for some reason had a little point of articulation in his abs that made him do little like bends, squats, whatever. I don't know. It was a little figure that I was really into. I kept it, still have it today. It's not in my school collection, but it's in my collection back home. And for that reason, a little childhood nostalgia, the development of the character, the way he's represented, Hulk's going to be at the bottom of the list at number 12. He's a lot of fun. It's fun to still watch Hulk smash and do what he does. And yeah, you can't go wrong. There's very little issue with the Hulk. Speaking of issues with the Hulk, Totally Awesome Hulk has some issues coming out. Check that out. There you go. 3 recommendations right there. So, going on from 12, we're going to move on to number 11. Let's get started. Number 11 is the Hulk. Wait a minute. Number 11 is the Spirit of Vengeance, Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider was one of the first comic characters that I actually actively got into reading about the backstories and the lore of the character. And the reason I got into Ghost Rider was the Nicolas Cage movie, the very first one. I don't like Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider. Yeah, getting older, reading more into the character, reading more stories about the character. Nicolas Cage is not a good Johnny Blaze. He's just not. The caginess of his acting method, the silly, weird, what the heck is happening moments, just, they're not good. If you ask me who's going to play Nicolas Cage, or who plays better than Nicolas Cage, I don't know. Anyone. Let Jonathan do it. Johnny Blaze, not Nicolas Cage. I like Ghost Rider for the biblical aspects, the idea that a noble hero is being fueled by the ultimate evil, the demonic energy of the devil himself. It's really cool to see that in the biblical allusions that have been put in the series all throughout. It's a fascinating little lore and backstory behind him, and he's just a blast. There's very few series that can go wrong with Ghost Rider. I haven't read too many I don't like. Except for you. You know what you did. Get out of here. Not that one. But as far as Ghost Rider goes, I do recommend the Nicolas Cage movies. Well, the first I recommend Ghost Rider, not for Nicolas Cage. The first movie only. Spirit of Vengeance was garbage. We don't need flamethrowers in this. Ugh. I recommend that. It's a good start-off point to get you interested if you haven't heard of the character before. It's still a great movie for the introduction of a character. It feels like it's going to set up something great, and while the sequel didn't deliver, you can get a great setup into the comics. I also recommend checking out the Brood Trouble in the Big Easy, which is a crossover between Ghost Rider and the X-Men. That's a lot of fun. Ghost Rider and Deadpool is another weird crossover for the Deadpool team-up. That's fun. That's a great series. The Fear itself, while it doesn't feature Johnny Blaze, still fantastic series. A lot of fun of like a what-if kind of situation. This weird alternate Ghost Rider that has more of a darkness. It's fun. I won't spoil anything. Check it out. And basically anything you can get with Ghost Rider has a solid, if you're trying to read back stuff, if it has a solid backlog to it, check it out. It's probably got a good backlog for a reason. So, without further ado, we're going to stop with Ghost Rider. We're going to move on to the standard set of 10. Here we go, number 10. Number 10. This list wouldn't be complete without featuring an X-Men. And when people ask me, what is the X-Men? I think of the X-Men. I think of Wolverine. Yes, I have a fellow Wolverine. That's a big fan I am. Wolverine, when I was a kid again, watching the series that were out at the time, he was always that cool, just loner, tough guy that didn't need anybody, rode in on his motorcycle, took care of business, took care of his friends, and then took off again. He's a blast. Just big tough guy, does what he wants, takes what he wants. That awesome power. The adamantium claw is just really cool. It's great seeing the staple that the character has in the Marvel Universe, how he has created a lot of characters, how he's mentored a lot of characters, and how his healing factor and the science behind that has come to create a lot of characters that we know and love today. It's just, he's a staple. He is a quintessential Marvel character. He's just a blast, and if you're into action, if you're into tough guys and motorcycles and not Nicolas Cage playing them on the big screen, then Wolverine's just a character for you. Recommendations for Wolverine, I will recommend to you the Death of Wolverine, a 4-part series. Super well done. It tells a lot about the character, a lot about his backstory and where he came from, and just, the ending to it, Death of Wolverine, what do you think is going to happen? But the ending to it, just the imagery that's put in, beautiful, fantastic, just to experience that ride. So definitely check that out. He's great in Wolverine and the X-Men, just the short-lived series. He did a great job in that, just kind of dealing with memory loss and trying to piece together the events of what happened and trying to get his crew back together. That's a great series to, if you're more into the visual medium, that's fine. That's great. His role in the 90s X-Men, his role in the X-Men Evolution series, none of those have a bad Wolverine in them. You really can't miss with them. So if you're into those, check them out. The movies with Hugh Jackman, a lot of fun. Except for you're in trouble too. Go over there. I'm going to keep pushing stuff over there. We're going to have a pile. It's going to be a mess. But other than that one, they're all just really good representations of the character. A lot of fun. Wolverine's just a blast. Big, tough guy. Just, you can see him getting in a fight in a bar and riding off with a girl on his motorcycle and just having a blast the whole way around. It's a fun experience. Good time. Definitely recommend it. So, we're going to move on to the next in our list. Let's get started. Here we go. Coming in at number 9, The Spirit of Vengeance. No, not Ghost Rider. For number 9, I picked the Spectre. The Spectre is one of those characters that he's just fascinating. It's an idea of, it is a spirit of justice, of vengeance, that needs to be guided by a mortal consciousness. And feel free to burn me in the comments when I get some of this wrong, but I'm just going off the cuff here. It's a fascinating character of, he's always different based off who's leading him. For stuff I recommend for him, I've got it down here, the Showcase of the Spectre, if you want to kind of see some of the earlier stuff. It's a thick book, it's black and white, but it's still fascinating to read. There is the 6-part, I believe, miniseries featuring Crispy Alien, Krispy Kreme Allen, Krispy Kreme Alleyway. The name's weird, but the series is a lot of fun. It's this idea that there's been a murder within this apartment complex, and it's up to the Spectre to figure this out and pass judgment on who it is that committed this crime. And it's this cool mixture of the ironic justice that the Spectre serves based off the crimes that people commit, and getting to see this cool murder mystery unfold, and seeing how everyone in the building has a part in it. It's a lot of fun, keeps you at the edge of your seat until you find out who did it. And prior to that, there's a 3-part series of the Spectre. Check that out. It's kind of a setup for the character. Read that, then read the 6-part, and there you got a 9-little bundle there that's a lot of fun. The Spectre series that had a ton of issues, dozens of them. That's a lot of fun to read if you want kind of a longer running thing. It has a different tone, but it's still really solid. There's not a lot with the Spectre that I feel like you can go wrong with. He appears in Infinite Crisis, and you can kind of see what happens when he's manipulated, when that kind of power is misused. That's a lot of fun. I'm not going to spoil anything there, but check him out there. That's a blast. And yeah, I think those are some solid recommendations for the Spectre. He's a character that not a lot's known about him, not a lot said about him, but if you're on the wrong side of him, well, read the comic and see the results. So we're going to move on from 9 to number 8. Here we go. Number 8 is a guilty pleasure of mine. It's a weird character to name, but it's a lot of fun to read. Number 8 is Ragman. Yes, Ragman. A lot of people don't know about Ragman's spot in the DC universe, and it's kind of muddied where he kind of falls in his origin, but a very popular one is that each tattered rag in his suit is a soul that he has captured and added to his cloak, and those souls have to work with him in order to be put at peace. They're these bad spirits that kind of have to work in like a weird prison work camp kind of thing, where Ragman will call on their strength or their intelligence or their knowledge on things, and they have to cooperate. It's just really cool to see how it works out, and I like the idea of this kind of a warden of an invisible camp that uses the powers of the people that he's captured, using their bad to do good and bring their souls to peace. It's a lot of fun. He also appears in the Infinite Crisis series, which then stemmed off into Shadow Pact. Definitely read Shadow Pact, a lot of fun there. You get a lot of wacky, weird magic characters in that series and in Infinite Crisis that the Ragman's just part of the team, but it's still a blast to see. He appears in Injustice for a little bit. That's a cool little spot, him versus Superman with Constantine there. It's a blast to kind of have that intense moment. He pops in and out of comics a lot, but not for very long. He has 2 series of his own, and those are both real good. Real short, I believe 6 and 8 issues. Check those out. Those are a lot of fun if you can find them. Usually found, he's one of those that's usually found in like the 25-cent bin, so you can piece them together without too much expense on your part, but it's still a lot of fun to read them and see the development of this kind of interesting, weird niche character not a lot of people know about. So if you're wanting that, if you're wanting something a little different, a little weird, just a little bit, but also something that not a lot of people know about, check out Ragman. I enjoy him a lot, and it's fun to see the look on people's faces when they're like, what are you reading? Oh, I'm reading Ragman. Well, what's a Ragman? Oh, don't worry about it. So for all those reasons, check out Ragman, and we're going to move on to the rest of the list. Here we go. Oh, number 7. I am going to get a lot of hate for number 7. He's low on the list, but I'll explain why. Number 7 is Batman. Yes, that Batman. Batman was one that, as a kid, I loved Batman. He was my number 1 guy for years and years and years. And that was because he was a hero that could do good, but didn't need the team. Didn't need to be with superhero best friends and all that. He was dark, he was brooding, and he still did good though. He had good in his heart. And being a kid, I was bullied a lot, and I was just real scared of people. Just my classmates freaked me out. I was real nervous and didn't have a lot of friends, and so I still wanted to do good. I still wanted to help people. And so I just decided, you know what, Batman's my guy. He's tough and he can help people, but he doesn't need anybody, so I kind of adapted that. I took that story, read a lot of Batman, watched a lot of Batman. There's a lot of Batman to read. He's everywhere. For recommendations of him, for the obvious animated series, which he does a fantastic job with that. One of my favorite Batman animated movies, Batman Beyond, Return of the Joker, Revenge of the Joker, whatever that tagline is. That's a great series where you get to see kind of older Bruce Wayne kind of passing on the torch, and you get to kind of learn a lot of neat Batman lore and facts and stuff. That's a great series, or great movie rather. A great movie. The Long Halloween, also down here on the shelf. It's kind of a series where you see more of Bruce Wayne being a detective, more than Batman being a vigilante. And that's an interesting take on stuff. If you're wanting more Batman focus, The Court of Owls, it's a cliffhanger there, so buy both volumes. But that's a great series. You can breeze through that real quick. It kept me on the edge of my seat. The Gates of Gotham miniseries, fantastic. A lot of Gotham lore there, and kind of learning about Batman's weird kind of origins and the Wayne name within the town. That's a lot of fun. And Haunted Gotham, even. That's a weird what-if kind of thing of like Batman in a world full of monsters and Frankenstein Joker, and that's fun. There's all sorts of different Batman. I've got to recommend the 1966 Adam West Batman though, because everyone should see that. Adam West is Batman. I don't care what you ask me. Who's Adam West? He's Batman. Who's Batman? Adam West. It's the role he was born to play. No one plays it better. If you're gonna watch one episode, that's fine, but everyone should see at least one. Not with King Tut. I don't like King Tut, but we're gonna get into that later. That's for a whole different thing. When I get through all the nice stuff, I'll get into the things I don't like, my top 10 least favorite, all that. King Tut's gonna be on the villain list. Don't you worry about that. So, without further ado, you guys think of me what you will, but Batman, he's gonna stay on the lower part of the list, and we're gonna move on. Here we go. Coming in at number 6 is a character that I got into a little bit later in comics. It is Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing is one of those more darker, more serious series that you get out of DC, but it is also one of the first series that I finished the first volume and I put down the book, went to the comic shop, bought the second one. The New 52 run, the original Swamp Thing run, they all have this weird, unexplainable interest to them, where you get to see this character that is a part of this magical, natural concept of green, and you get to see how that kind of shapes the world, how it shapes the magic, how it shapes the superpowers, and how he's been kind of thrust into this role as the champion of this thing that he doesn't understand, and that he's got no business being a part of. He has no interest in it until he finds out about it and that it's dying and he has to be there. And it's interesting to see that thrust upon him kind of role and how he'll take it in different versions. Swamp Thing has a series now. It's a lot of fun. It's just getting started if you want to get that. And again, it's more of a serious tone, but it is one of the best things I have read out of DC. It's one of those characters that I've yet to see anything done too terribly wrong with. There's some things I don't care for, but it's excusable because you get more good than you get bad. He's very cool, very action-y character, but also has very serious, very contemplative questions about the environment and people and animals, and it's just all very, very well done. I know Elephant in the Room, the TV stuff, I hadn't watched it yet. Let me know if I should. We'll see about that. Swamp Thing, definitely recommended. He's on the upper part of the list for a reason, and all I can say, check him out for yourself. I recommend the New 52 run starting with it. It's fantastic. So, that's Swamp Thing. Let's move on to the next item on our list. Oh, number 5. Number 5 is one that I'm real happy with. I love this character a lot. Number 5, Earth's mightiest mortal, Captain Marvel, Captain Thunder, Shazam. Whatever you call him, Shazam's just a blast to read. It's fun to see the ideal of a boy being forced into the role of a man, being forced into the role of a hero. It's great to see just kind of the growth that happens with Shazam as Billy kind of comes into the role a little bit more. There's some variations that are a little different, but it's always a role of the innocent mindset of I want to do good. This is bad, this is good. I've got to figure out where I fall in between and kind of defining the gray areas in morality. It's a great look at what it's like to kind of grow up. For recommendations for Shazam, definitely the New 52 run. It was in the back of Justice League comics, I believe, and then it had a 1-volume release. That's a blast. Superman Shazam First Flight, great little, again, mini-series there where you kind of get to see Shazam kind of starting out. That's a blast. My favorite thing with Shazam in it is kind of a weird roundabout thing. In Future's End, his role there, but more importantly, the holographic Superman issue featuring Shazam. He has a very fascinating role there about being the hero that you want to be, being the person that you want to be, and not the person that you think you have to be for everyone else. And that's really well done, and admittedly got me through kind of weird figuring out myself time in my life. That issue has a very special place in my heart and on my shelf. It's in my recommendations for a reason. Shazam's just a really fun character. It's lighthearted. It gets the same ideals that Swamp Thing kind of has, of kind of figuring out your role in the world, but it's with a fun, action-packed, goofy kind of Saturday morning cartoon vibe to it. And I don't know, you just can't go wrong with Shazam. A lot of fun. Trials of Shazam, another fun series. Another kind of short one, I believe 13, 12, somewhere around there issues. But that was a lot of fun too, so check out Shazam and see if he's the character for you. If you're looking for more of the traditional ideal of comic books, the kid struggle with his powers kind of thing, it's a blast to read, and you never quite know what to expect. So check him out. We're moving on to number 4. Number 4, I bet none of you can guess that this guy was going to make an appearance. Number 4 is Rorschach. Yeah, big surprise. I'm a Rorschach fan. Bet you couldn't guess. Yeah, I like Rorschach enough that I cosplay him. He's a character that I like that he is a very right or wrong, black or white, very this is good, this is evil, there is no gray area kind of character. He is what I believe most people who don't read comic books or only know movie experience, I feel like he's the character that people expect when they think of Batman, where he is the no-nonsense, will beat you down kind of character that, why does he do things? Because he's Rorschach and he can. He's going to fight this person. Why? Because they're bad. Because he perceives them as bad. He's just a very cool character that's no-nonsense. He's if I had to make a combination Batman, Wolverine, and Dark Claw without the claws, it would be Rorschach. Very cool character design. I love that mask. But Rorschach's he's just cool. There's no other reason for it. Reading The Watchmen, there are scenes that get me on the edge of my seat. I don't want to spoil that. We're just going to say that he has some great moments, and he's just a great character. The idea that he considers his superhero persona, his Rorschach identity, more of an identity to himself, a true self, than he does his alter ego. That Walter is while Rorschach is the secret identity of Walter, not the other way around. It's fascinating just trying to see what makes him tick and then finding out that there's no way to figure it out. He's just a great character and a great twist on what it means to be a superhero. And for all those reasons, Rorschach takes number 4. So, we're going to move on to number 3. Number 3, going back to the Marvel, this is a very DC heavy list, but number 3 is Miss Marvel, more specifically Kamala Khan, the new Miss Marvel who, I just love this little girl. She's a fantastic role model for kids. She is a new character coming in to a classic role that has very much come into her own, knows exactly the kind of story that she wants to tell, the type of role model she wants to be, and isn't worried about kind of feeling herself out. It's more concerned about the adventures that they're going on, the power that's there, the mysteries, the relationships that are building. It's just such a wonderful little world that she's built in such a short time. She's doing great in the all-new different Avengers, and I don't know, there's not a place you can put this little girl that's just not a perfect fit. She's a great role model. She's got very nice, very wholesome stories, and takes us back to something that I feel like we've kind of lost with comic books, where it's a new idea. While she is still wearing the Miss Marvel name, she's made it all her own. She really has. And it's so cool watching her interact with heroes and watching her meet her idols, and going from fangirl who reads comics and writes fan fiction to this just character all her own, this power all her own, and finding out that she's inspiring people and that she has become the thing that she idolized, and that you can still follow your dreams. We don't get that enough nowadays, where you can follow your dreams, you can have aspirations that sound completely off and completely ridiculous, and people may laugh at them or think they're silly, but if you stick to it, you can have that. We don't see that anymore. And if I say it, we don't see it anymore, we don't see it in the right way. Miss Marvel she touches on things that I feel have been kind of forgotten, brushed over in comics, and gives kind of a fresh hope to things, a fresh take. And I feel like she's a great place for kids to start reading. She's a great place for old comic fans, new comic fans. She's just universally good. And, I could go on for hours. Miss Marvel takes number 3 because, well, you can't break this much ground and not make a spot on this list. For recommendations, the new Miss Marvel series, the sequel to that same series, her and all different Avengers. Anywhere you can find her, she's great. Kamala takes a well-deserved spot number 3, taking bronze. Let's see who gets silver. Coming in at silver position number 2, Firestorm, the Nuclear Man. I love Firestorm as a concept. 2 very different people coming together to be one mess, one idea. One person being the brain, one person being the body, and just watching them work together in this symbiosis. It's just, it's fascinating. I love alchemy. I love the science and chemistry behind it. It's just such a cool character, and we get a lot of different we get a lot of origins from supervillains in the Firestorm, the original series, and then the Fury of Firestorm spinoff. Killer Frost, actually originally Firestorm villain. Black Bison, another one. We have all these characters come in that, while Firestorm originally didn't last very long, then came back and lasted a real long time, he's a cool character and a great place for kind of inspiration and startups for villains, heroes, and just ideas. He's a great thing to play with, where he can change anything into non-organic materials. He can turn lead into gold. He can turn gold into milk and bullets into flowers. And he can just do it at the drop of a hat. And watching all that in a hothead teenager being fueled by a more calculating mind, as the usual formula goes, it's just a lot of fun. It's a fun ride. It's a very cool power. And if I had to have superpower, it would be the alchemical manipulation that Firestorm has. For recommendations for Firestorm, I would say the original series you can get it usually in a volume, where it has the original running issues and the Cancelled Comics Cavalier, I believe it's called, where it's the final issue of that, and then he comes back in my second recommendation, The Fury of Firestorm. Another lot of fun series. The new 52 run, while a little different, still thoroughly enjoyable. I like it a lot. It's only 20-something issues, so it's not too terribly long. It's a bit longer of a commitment than the other recommendations, but if it's your thing and you get into it, definitely check it out. Firestorm is such a blast to read, no pun intended, and I feel like he's a well-deserved number 2. But the question is, who's number 1? Coming in at number 1, it's no surprise, gold medal for the Golden Boy. Superman, not One Punch Man, Superman takes my number 1 spot for the Marvel DC Top 12 Heroes list. I explained that with Batman, it was what I needed as a kid, and that he was a character that was dark and brooding, didn't need anyone but could still do good. Well, I had a time in my life where I didn't need that anymore. What I needed was hope. I can be perfectly frank and honest when I say this. When I was in high school, my last year, my mother was diagnosed with cancer, and I was taking care of her and just felt real upset and angry at the world, and how they just didn't feel right and everything was wrong, and I just didn't want to be upset anymore. I found Superman because my dad loved Superman. I always liked Batman as a kid, a little side thing to antagonize him just a little bit. But one day when my mom was sick, the sickness really tore us apart. And one day my mom saw us talking and arguing, bickering. She hated it. She hated seeing us fight because we used to be so close when I was a kid. So she tells me, hey, go downstairs and watch this movie with your dad. I got him the first Superman movie for Father's Day or his birthday the year before, I don't remember, before things went off. And he and I both kind of groaned and moaned about it. Then we sat down and we started watching it. And there was just this wholesome moment of just experiencing this hopeful character, this character that can make everything right, and fix everything. And me and my dad started talking. I started real like, oh, that's silly, it's ridiculous. But he just kind of won me over. And I realized at that point the reason why my dad liked him so much was because while he is the original character, and some people call him a Boy Scout, and that he's too good, too noble, too kind, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with having hope in a hopeless time? What is the big deal if someone wants to be good? If in this world of everything messing up, why can't we be happy? Why can't we have one time where everything works out? And it was what I needed at the time. It fixed me and my dad's relationship, brought us a lot closer together, and I was hooked ever since. I started wearing Superman everything's from winter hat to socks, and it was funny because people started calling me Superman even when I wasn't wearing stuff. People I never met. I had children coming up to me going, look, Mom, it's Superman. And I guess it just was a shift in my personality. It made me feel like things weren't going to be so bad all the time. And it was okay to be a little hopeful. And I still don't see anything wrong with that. Superman is a character that was always in the background in my life and always there for when I needed him in the situation, and just kind of hung around until the situation came. It was very cool. And I don't know, I could talk for hours about why I love these characters, especially why I love Superman, but it just boils down to, it's great to not be naive to the world. It's great to not have a blind eye to the darkness and the hatred in the world, but it's even better when you can accept all that and still want to be good. And that's the reason for this list, is admiring those that do good because it's the right thing to do. For recommendations for Superman, The Death of Superman is a fantastic run that keeps me on the edge of my seat every time I read it. It's Superman, the man who can stop a freight train, going up against his version of a freight train, and it's great to see that. I recommend the Red Sun series for a great alternative take and kind of seeing what would happen if things were slightly different in the Superman world. Those are great. For the Man Who Has Everything, the Alan Moore run, that's a lot of fun to see. They made it into a great Justice League episode. His role in the Justice League, in Justice League Unlimited, as kind of the leader, kind of organizer, and hopeful, happy-go-lucky guy in that dynamic, really well done. If you want them for a little darker, if you're still into that, nothing wrong with it. Injustice is a great version of that where Superman doesn't care. That's the Tyrant Superman thing's been done to death, but that's probably my favorite version of it. Another version is the Superman Shazam First Flight, issue 4, I believe, where you get to see what happens when Superman finds out that Billy Bash is just a kid, and getting to see the passion, the fury within him when he realizes that Shazam never chose to be a hero, it was thrust upon him, and that's really well done. And I can go on for days, I really could. But let me know what I've done right, what I've done wrong with this list. It's my opinion, I'd love to hear yours. Let me know in the comments down below, up, left, right, wherever they put them. And that's it for me, that's my 12. I'd love to hear your 12 down at the bottom. If you want to do 13, 15, 25, whatever. Let's get a conversation going in the comments, that'll be a lot of fun. I look forward to talking to you guys. If you want to comment, if not, like the video. If you want to comment, like the video too. So like the video, subscribe to Something About Geek Stuff for all your nerdy needs. Let me know what kind of top 10 lists you want to see me do. Top 12, 15. Again, I'm flexible. I'm going to stick to the top 12 for now just because it's fun. I like having a little extra wiggle room. So let me know what you want to see. Comments as always. I've been Sam. Thanks for watching. I'll see you at the comic shop. Tune in next time. Bye-bye.